Welcome to Focus on B, a single-part video series where I take a look at a game that wouldn't necessarily make for a great Let's Play, but would make for an interesting video, I think, because it's something that I really want to talk about. This is Sonic and SEGA All-Stars Racing. Oh my god, nostalgic doesn't even begin to describe this game. I've never been the biggest fan of the Mario Kart style games. They're the kind of game where it's like a racing game, except it's not actually about the racing, it's more so about the items and the luck factor and all those things, right? It's just kind of a fun time with friends. Not to say that Mario Kart doesn't have that competitive aspect in certain games. No, it does, but there's always that's more of a meta level thing. This is a game that I feel is much more focused on the actual racing, although it does still have items, don't get me wrong. Now, why am I playing this game in particular on this day, December 24th? Because this was the day that I uploaded my first ever YouTube video, exactly 10 years ago, 2014, December 24th. So to commemorate, I wanted to play one of my favorite games of this kind, really. I was thinking of actually doing the same game I played back then, Hobble Turbo Racing, but I mean, no, I already did free Vivid Noise episodes on that game. I'm kind of burnt out on that, so instead we want to burn out. Oh, I might get to that at some point. No, maybe. I'm not sure. I really like Burnout Paradise, and Revenge is cool too. So, first I want to showcase the mission mode, because it's something that you don't really see in every kart racer. It's in quite a few. This isn't the only kart racer ever to have a mission type mode like this, but it's not the most common thing either. So, let's see, which one should we do? I have no idea. Let's see, Seaside Hills in the midst of a... Oh yeah! You can actually find out more about them, so... Drive for... Well, let's just do something really simple. Something like this. Now, do I prefer this to Sonic All-Stars Transforms career mode? It's simpler for sure, and not quite as challenging. I feel there's a fun, more arcade quality to this, although Transform is an excellent racing game, and I actually... maybe, is this an unpopular opinion? I guess it is, because it's based on Sonic. It's a positive opinion about a Sonic game. Of course it's unpopular. No, okay. Not anymore. Frontiers and Superstar, especially Frontiers, definitely helped shift things back in favor. But either way, no, I really do like Team Sonic Racing's career mode as well. But I feel like playing this more, so I'm gonna do it. And there you go. Boom. Done. AAA. Just like that. Yeah, the missions are... Wait a second, I'm adjusting my audio. The missions are not really that involved for the most part. In fact, let's do one more just to showcase. I love how it's like the only time we get to see a lot of these characters in high definition because, well, a lot of these series are kind of dead, pretty much. Except for, is House of the Dead still a thing? They got a couple entries. Let's see, what else can we do just before we go into the cup? Because I want to do a regular cup, and that'll be the video. Extraordinary, Spooky Speedway, Maraca Madness, Maraca, I don't fucking know, it's not an English word. Banana Bonus, the same track. No, let's do something else. Water Slide, the clock's ticking, telling us to get to Drive for the Green Gates. No, same thing. You're both, what? They're both used to the city streets, but okay, that's not, it's a race, I imagine. Choo Choo Avenue. Oh, we got a little mini game thing. So, I think you're already... I'm guessing you already know how this game works with the whole all-star system, because just like its sequel, every single character has an all-star move. But in this one, they used to be way more unique. Because in the second one, there was pretty much like 2 or 3 different types that were shared across all the characters. And in in Team Sonic Racing, they completely got rid of it. They just used like these things called ultimate moves, which is just a big boost mode, basically. I think for the sake of, I guess, balancing and making things as fair as possible, yeah, I guess it makes sense for him to do it that way, but this was never a competitive game, you know, I mean, it's not quite as popular as Mario Kart, so it's never going to have that same competitive appeal, because Mario Kart isn't competitive either. But it became competitive just because of how many fucking people play those games. So inevitably, someone's going to want to play it a little more seriously, you know? Someone's going to start actually thinking about the racing lines and the glitches and trying to figure out like the best ways to get through the track as fast as possible, just by virtue of the fact that a lot of people play Mario Kart. And, you know, a lot of people play this as well because it did well enough to get 2 sequels. Absolutely, and some mobile entries as well. And is no one gonna talk about how freaking impressive the fucking DS version of this game is, by the way? Everyone's like, oh, you know, 3D on the DS, not the 3DS, but like 3D on the DS, and you have like, you know, Mario 64, and wasn't there this Metroid game as well? Yeah, but like, no one's talking about this shit. Like, this game ran at 60 frames per second on the DS. I mean, it's worth its own video, damn it. But, of course, we're not doing that. I'm just gonna go with Sonic because that's the simple choice. We're gonna go Expert because it's more fun that way. Which cup should I do? I think one of my favorite cups is probably... Do I want to do... Yeah, I like Ocean Ruin a lot. But this one has a lot of great tracks as well. All the cups in this game have awesome levels. Now fuck it, let's do the final one. Why not? You know, I forgot that you can, like, select different songs. What should we do? I mean, it makes sense. It's the Bingo Party track. Let's go with Bingo Highway from Sonic Heroes. And go. Yeah, I've turned the announcer off just to... I mean, because obviously I'm going to be commentating, so having two people talk over each other like that is going to be a little bit confusing. Regarding the game's soundtrack, you know... What the fuck? Okay, that was a glitch. But regarding the game's soundtrack, I don't totally have a problem with the fact that, oh, it's all a bunch of, you know, just rips from other games, because they do fit. I mean, a lot of Sonic music is super high octane and makes sense for this kind of game, and I do like the fact that they got a couple Sonic R tracks in there, because that's fun, and Sonic Rush as well. Although I do appreciate the natural evolution of the soundtracks in these games, like how with the sequel, it was all these really cool electronic remixes, and then for the third one, it was a mix of remixes and original compositions, which are fucking awesome. And you got Jun Sonoa back on that shit, right, for Team Sonic Racing? God, I still really love his rendition of Planet Wisp. You know, and it took me so long to even hear the motif, the melody, doo-doo-doo-doo. Like, it's actually there. It's just way faster, and it's in a different key, and it took me a while to figure out that it's the same one, but yeah. Motifing, that's always fun when he does that. And, yeah, but this game's soundtrack, it does the job. Okay, hold on, okay, does recording this game, does OBS inject itself into this game to make it buggy? Like, what the fuck? I've never had any of these glitches happen. And right now, when I want to showcase a childhood game in the best light it possibly can be shown, it goes ahead and does that kind of shit. Come on, Sonic, you're not doing yourself any fucking favors. Remember when was it this level or one of the other casino tracks that apparently had a bit of fan art used in it, accidentally? They didn't know it was fan art, which... I guess is a compliment to the original artist. It's like, hey, you know, your thing was so good, we thought it was official. Which isn't saying much anymore, because nowadays everyone can make things that look official really easily. But back then it was like, that was like, what, 2000... If the game came out in 2010, I imagine it spent most of 2009 in development. Depends on when it came out in 2010. If it was an early 2010 release, then yeah, no shit. Most of it was 2009. And yes, I know, this game was meant to actually be a genuine successor to Sonic R, in a way. Like, it was actually meant to have the whole on-foot racing thing going on. But then they scrapped it because they thought it looked kind of weird. And yeah, I kind of get it. And I'm glad we got this. This is great. Sonic R, it would be cool if we got like an official remake of some kind, or some... I don't know, could we get John Burton to do it? I mean, he made, what was it, Sonic 3D Blast DX, you know, like his own director's cut, so why not? And boom, we're done with the first race, yeah. Races in this game aren't that long just because, man, the flow of the game. I really need to talk about the actual handling model. Because the handling model in this game is completely different to the next two. That's something that always bothered me, the fact that they never went back to... What the fuck? The fact they never went back to this. I really love the smooth, like, flow that this game has with the way that the cars handle. So, in the Sonic All-Stars Transform and Team Sonic Racing, when you switch directions mid-drift, that's pretty much... am I remembering this correctly? Oh, no, wait. Yeah, it's the other way around, actually. So, in this game, when you let go of your drift... You know, it initiates the boost, but it also initiates the boost if you're switching directions mid-drift. I'm gonna fall again, right? I need to get more speed, game. Come on, let me fucking do this. There you go. Which means that if your timing is good, you can chain a fuck ton of drifts together to the point where you can pretty much drift and boost in the same direction. So, in Sonic All-Stars Transformed and Team Sonic Racing in the sequels, if you wanted to, let's say, so look at this. See what I'm doing right here? I could not do this, what I'm doing right now, and this is just straight up muscle memory. This is just a reflex at this point. But basically, I'm letting go as soon as the first level of boost is active, and then I press the drift button again to then, you know, go instantly back into the drifting mode. And you couldn't do that in the sequels, because there you keep your boost level until you fully let go and straighten out. And that's really annoying because it means that you can't do cool chain boosts like this. I imagine something similar is possible with the right timing, but here it's just so effortless, you know? And something else I really like is the fact that, of course, we're gonna get the Chaos Emeralds. No shit. So yeah, I talked about how the All-Star moves are very different here compared to the sequels. How they're all like, they're basically all unique to the character. Please don't run out right here. Thank God, okay. Sonic Heroes, because of course this game draws a lot of motifs from that game, which is cool. I mean, that is basically the closest we got to classic Sonic in 3D before, well, I don't know, I guess Generations, kind of? I mean, well, there was also Adventure 2, which had the that Green Hill stage, whatever. But the point is here, every single boost level is the same speed, the same power level. It's only a matter of duration, which really means that if you're really, really good at timing your drifts like this and your boosts, look at this, boom. You can go really fast because you're not missing out. Like, it's not like as if you're doing a bunch of shitty little boosts, which would not be as good as one really good boost. No, every boost is the same level of quality, it's the same power. You know, it propels you the same amount, it's just a matter of duration. Which means that you could just spam this shit, you know? You can go like this, and really go way faster than, I mean, I've always believed this is the fastest one of the... Well, actually, no, I think I may be wrong there. I think objectively, in terms of just the pure speed, Sonic All-Stars Transformed on the S difficulty might be the highest speed we could possibly reach. And then Team Sonic Racing is on its highest difficulty, the expert difficulty, is about the same, I think, as A difficulty in Transformed. Yeah, I don't know why they never really got that fast. I think it goes faster in online, because I remember watching some online races in Team Sonic Racing where the guy goes really fucking fast, you know? And maybe there's no speed cap in online mode, I'm not sure. But here, you do go quite quickly, but it doesn't matter what difficulty you use. I do like that, and it really bothers me that they fell into that, like, Mario Kart thing where, oh, the difficulty determines the speed. Because what if I want difficult opponents, or maybe, no, what if I want to have the game be really fast, but not have the opponents be stupid hard? I mean, here, I'm just not doing super great, to be honest. But this game isn't very difficult, even on the highest difficulty setting, to be honest. It's not like, because Transform, that game gets evil on the highest difficulty setting. In Team Sonic Racing, the races aren't that hard on expert, but some of the missions can be pretty, well, actually some of the missions don't have difficulties, come to think of it, but they do have like extra medal requirements and such. I haven't played Team Sonic Racing's campaign since the game came out. I should play it at some point. I took it off my hard drive, and the game's like 30 fucking gigs, which... that's a lot for a kart racer. It's not a lot for a modern AAA shooter or adventure game, sure, but it's a lot for a kart racer, you know? Like, I can't imagine downloading that for a game like this. You know, this game is like 6 gigs, I think, and so was the sequel. Where did all that space... What takes up so much space? I mean, probably the voice lines. Like, in this game, the only voice acting is the little grunts occasionally, like, from the characters, and which I've turned off, of course. But yeah, Jason Griffith's in this, which is awesome. It's one of the last Jason Griffith games. Even though it doesn't have any new lines, it's all just reused stuff from like 06 for the most part, which is interesting because that game was already 4 years old by the time that this game was released, and now it's 18 years old. Jesus Christ. But either way, Maybe that's what takes up so much space in Team Sonic Racing, because it's not the texture quality. It looks good enough, but this game also has really nice looking textures. So it's got to be the sound, because that game has a ton of character audio. So much so that I've seen some people make multi-part video, like several parts worth of compilations of like people of the characters saying shit, you know. So there's like a lot of audio in that game, some of which I've only ever heard like once or twice. Like there was this one time Rouge was like, Amy, are you trying to die? I thought that was like really out of character and really weird, but I've never heard that a second time, you know. Some lines just don't play that often, and that's probably because there's just so many that there's not too much repetition, which is good, you know. That I'm sure they were aware of that when recording those lines. Like, okay, we got to make sure they don't say the same shit over and over and over again, because there's nothing more annoying than, you know, just having the character say like 2 lines over and over again, of course. So they did a good job making like the character audio sound natural in that game, although you can turn it off. You can leave it, I think you can make it just subtitles, or you can just completely get rid of it. Which, I mean, takes a little bit of the character away, but I guess if you get sick of it, you know, you're failing one particular event over and over again, and you're just tired of fucking hearing those lines, then sure, I can totally get why you would want to turn that off. But am I crazy? Or does this game almost look the best of the 3? Like, okay, I think in terms of pure fidelity, okay, no, objectively, of course, Team Sonic Racing would be the best because it's the latest. It came out 9 years later for the next-gen systems and all that, so obviously that one's got to be the best. Even though I still think that Transformed looks a smidge better. It's got nicer reflections and such. It's not even so much like technically, like down to like whatever factors you would use to quantify graphical quality. It's more so just a matter of how the aesthetics are done. But Team Sonic Racing looked good too, but I don't know. This one might be my favorite looking of the bunch. It's got a very interesting way that it handles color. It's not so... It's not cel-shaded, like I've heard some people describe it. It's not cel-shaded, obviously. But it's definitely got a different approach to lighting and color. Maybe it has less specular lighting and cube maps and such. Like there's fewer reflections. And I've never been a fan of that, to be honest. I don't like tons of specular, you know, reflections and shininess, and I feel like a lot of newer games look kind of ugly because of that, you know? I'm not saying everything has to be matte in its coloring, as in everything has to be completely non-reflective, although that can look very good too. No, but it definitely can look a little jarring when everything's like too reflective and too glossy and weird. Maybe on individual aspects, like individual elements on the screen, like Sonic's car right now is kind of reflective, just a little bit. Oh, it's not reflecting anything, but it's definitely glossy, as you can see. It looks very nice. I always thought it looked like a Porsche, to be honest. Does it look like a Porsche a little bit? Yeah, I always thought Sonic's car looked a bit like a Porsche Carrera GT, like from the front. From the rear, it doesn't really look like anything. Then it kind of stayed similar, but they changed the design a little bit of the rear in the second one. And in Team Sonic Racing, it just straight up looks like a McLaren P1. Like, it's not even funny. It looks just like a McLaren P1. Wait, wasn't there like a little bit of Porsche 918 in there as well? I don't know, but it's really interesting though, seeing them combine like these elements of like genuine real car design language in these fictional cars. Like, look at Amy's car. It's like a Beetle, right? Or how a you clipped through the stage too. Or how Silver's car in Team Sonic Racing looks a little bit like a, what was it, a Mercedes Biome, I believe. It's one of those weird cars that you only ever see in like mobile racing games for some reason. What's up with that? What's up with like the shit-ass Gameloft trash mobile racing games having the really cool, exotic, interesting cars that you don't really see in a lot of, you know, good racing games, like real ones. Weird. Like, what's up with that? Like, do they exclusively have the rights to that license, or are they just really expensive to license to anyone else and Gameloft's the only one who can afford it? Or, I don't know. Because you don't really see Mercedes concept cars like that, other than maybe Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo has a lot of concept stuff, and Vision cars. Remember those? Remember when everyone went crazy over the Vision cars in Gran Turismo Sport? Also, remember Gran Turismo Sport? That was a weird experiment. Also, is GT7 better now? I've heard a lot of mixed things about GT7. But Classic Game Room did a review of it, and no Gran Turismo game is complete without that, so I'm glad that things have worked out in that way. He's the only person, Mark, he's like the only person who can make me feel about a current game like I did back when I was a kid. Like, when I watched this Gran Turismo 7 video, I thought it was like the coolest game in the world. I know it's not. In fact, it's quite flawed compared to some previous entries, other than the graphics are nice and shiny. But the way he presents it with the music and his commentary, he makes you excited for these games more than you reasonably would be as an adult, you know? It's so crazy. Like, he made me feel the same way about Gran Turismo 7, like how I did back when I watched, you know, his most popular video, his video on Mario Kart Wii. I don't really care too much for Mario Kart Wii, to be honest, even though it is a, you know, iconic game, absolutely. But, you know, when I watched that video as a kid, I was like, oh, I gotta get my hands on that thing. And then I remembered, oh, wait a second, it's on the Wii, and my PC isn't good enough to emulate Dolphin. In fact, was Dolphin even... yeah, I think it... when was Dolphin initially developed? Like, when was the first public release? I have no idea. Clearly, it was a long time ago, for sure. I mean, this thing's been around for years. You'd be surprised, you know, for how long certain emulators have been around, like Project 64, SNES 9X. You know why it's called that? Because it was meant to run on Windows 9X initially. You know, like 98, 95, like, that's why it's called that. That's how long it's been around, and, you know, it's still being updated, I think. So that's pretty cool. But, you know, my heart's always gonna be with Z-SNES, even though it's very outdated, but I use Misan primarily, Misan S, I believe, which I think it's more focused on NES, but obviously Misan S is the Super Nintendo version, and it's very good. And this is actually the end of the race. Damn. There you go. Well, that was my little gush over one of my favorite racing games of all time. I absolutely adore this game, man. It's not flawless. It's not the best kart racer ever made. Is it as good as Mario Kart? Well, I think it's better, but that's irrelevant. Look at the sales figures, right? That's what matters. But either way, this was sort of like my 10-year celebration anniversary thing. I didn't want to do something super long and ambitious like how some YouTubers do. It's like, oh, we're going to do a 40-minute video on... I mean, I've done that. I have 40-minute videos, but they just happen to be that long because of the game I'm playing. But here, no. Just one cup and a few missions was enough. I really hope you enjoyed this episode of Focus on B. I'll see you guys next time. This has been Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing for PC.